you think all these issues could have been solved if they had an extra hour? Or do you think it was flawed in its direction and script as well?
It's limited in its subject matter, to be honest. I think when you lock loads of actors onto a boat and they've got to get from point A to point B and avoid the enemy, I question how far you can develop a lot and explore other avenues unless you started to inject flashback sequences even more. So
there are some amazing naval war movies though, and submarine focused movies. I don't know if it's necessarily like a genre that's...
That was one of my next picks, like Das Boot, if anyone hasn't seen it.
Yeah, Das Boot. There's like a couple... I can't remember the name of it. There's one from like the 50s or 60s that talks about some of the naval battles that take place like North Hawaii and stuff in the war. There are some really good ones that are focused around people being on a boat, but they like flesh out the history and they flesh up, build up people going onto the boat kind of thing. Which is my question of, do you think if they had more time they could have made it better? Or
I think they could have.
Yeah, they could have developed Tom Hanks and Stephen Graham's characters' relationships a bit more. Maybe they could, or just not even develop them, just have more scenes of them together. They've only got actually like 1 or 2 scenes on screen at the same time where they're actually in the same room. Because they're in different parts of the ship, and they could have easily had some more dialogue. I mean, when you've got Tom Hanks and Stephen Graham in a room, you can do some pretty fucking good things. So it did definitely lose out that way, and if it was longer, it would need to feel that way. But it could have been better if it had done that. But I mean, it's a lot of question marks over whether it could have been good or not, I suppose.
I think what they could have added, which maybe would have benefited from, was it was so one-sided with you only knowing anything about the Americans or rooting for the Americans. The only thing you knew about the Germans was they were the root of all evil. And like you never actually saw. I think there may have been 1 or 2 like small scenes in the actual German submarine, but there were certainly no extended scenes. I think maybe a bit of the other side would have given it a little bit more of the film.
Just the voice over the radio.
Yeah.
You are going to die. Like, oh, okay, cool, sure.
Yeah, all the accents were terrible. Actually, I thought even Stephen Graham's was overdone.
Yeah, someone who plays so many American characters,
exactly.
And I was wondering why is his accent so dodgy? Like,
yeah, that's why I question of his direction, because they were all terribly kind of overdone. It seemed poor because it was something like Gangs of New York. He still plays what was he going for? It was like that New Jersey kind of body. It was that East Coast.
It was.
Yes, but like Gangs of New York doesn't have a ridiculously overdone. So I don't know if they just try to like over dramatise like every aspect of it. But.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will.
What did you think of the music? Like, what did you think of the music in the thing?
Good.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, works.
I thought it was saving grace.
I thought it was real good. I thought the music in it was actually brilliant.
It built suspension really nicely.
Yeah, it complemented it quite nicely, didn't it?
Like the film did go quick. Like it is a short runtime, but those action scenes, that middle section went really quickly for me. Like I was in it. There's just not enough around it, and I don't think you can really hang a whole movie on some of those action scenes.
Yeah, I think being an action movie as well, it had a $50 million budget. I thought the CGI was really weak for an action
$50
film.
million budget.
Yeah, it had quite a big budget, and I thought the CGI was pretty weak for a film that's going to rely so heavily on action scenes at sea. Not that it ruined it for me, but you watch some of those and you're just like, well, you're aware that you're watching CGI.
Which streaming service did it go to?
Sorry?
Apple.
Was it Apple?
Apple,
yeah. Apple bought it out. Yeah. But like, I get it with the oil slicks, like whenever they hit anything.
Yeah.
That like even the sea itself looks incredibly fake. Yeah, I thought. Yeah.
I mean, you could tell it's probably something that Tom Hanks has wanted to do for a while. He's wanted to adapt that story into a screenplay and then play the main character himself. But it's a bit more of a passion project than a successful feature film. That could have been the aim from the start. Who knows? Anything else that anyone wants to mention?
Be interesting to see the difference between non-American viewers or reviewers such as ourselves compared to some people who are maybe history buffs or naval buffs or American. Because if you're an American into your naval history, this might have just ticked every single box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The language used, you must be there just going, oh, this is amazing. It's all
that's
accurate.
what I mean. Yeah.
It's all accurate, and I just love it. Yeah.
0.36 to start.
Yeah. But they didn't even
I
play
thought
on the
some
bit.
of the best scenes were down at the bottom in the actual navigation room.
Yeah.
With the red lighting and stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah, that was all great. But then they didn't even carry on and play on some bits that you thought might come back, in terms of when the guys got shouting the coordinates, so the headset, and then he coughs and delays what he's saying in the coordinates.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, it's going to happen later, something's going to go wrong, and it didn't. I was just like, what's the point in that? Just to lay out a little bit of a don't do that wrong, you're in the army kind of thing, instead of actually being like, there's going to be some consequence to this later, or even then at the time. But yeah, it missed out on a few things like that. But yeah, if you're a naval buff, like you say, Jem, I'm sure you'd absolutely bloody love it, because it was, as someone who knows nothing about it, it's definitely accurate. You'd like to think.
Yeah. Should we give it a rating?
Yeah. Anything else, or should we rate it up?
Good.
Yeah.
Let's rate it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go first on this one. No, Jem, you go first. You chose it. You go. You go first.
I was going to say. I usually give it a paragraph, but I think I've said something I need to about it. I think I'd give it a 6.
Ooh.
6 from Jem. Tom.
Yeah, I only give it more because I thought the action scene. I'm doing my ratings on enjoyment. It wasn't a good film. I gave Palm Springs 8.1 because I really enjoyed it. Not the best production either, but yeah, I mean, 7. I'd give it a 7.3.
Wow.
I don't think it's in the 6s quite for me, just because I did think those action scenes I did find quite riveting. I really enjoyed it, and the music was good, and Tom Hanks is captivating. It's just, I do feel if they had more time, it would have been a good movie.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to give it 6.3. Again, yeah, like Tom Hanks, I like war films. This one just doesn't give enough. CGI really bugged me in the end.
I
The
think
lack
that's
of
part of the
dialogue
reason I
in
gave it
general.
such a low score. It just disappointed me. I expected it to be better, and I was like, "You're not good." So
It could be that. I didn't actually even expect it to be really good, but
terrible.
it was worse than I thought it was going to be. Personally,
Really?
it was worse than I thought. I thought it was going to be okay, and it wasn't even. It wasn't up to the level I thought it was going to be, even though I thought it wasn't going to be that great. So it's really underwhelmed me, I think, in general, just because of the story in it as a whole. I would have just loved some more dialogue in there, rather than just an hour and a half of coordinates being shouted out. But 6.3 for me. And James?
Yeah, I'm more inclined to go towards where Tom's like rating it. I had very low expectations, if I'm being honest, and I also really wasn't in the mood to bloody watch it as well. And when I watched it, I was actually kind of like, you know what? The hour and a half has absolutely flown. It's basically just one super tense long battle scene, which, yes, I mean, CGI, you can probably say was a little bit ropey. The accents were definitely really ropey, but I quite enjoyed it. So yeah, I'll give it a 6.8.
6.8, which gives it a 6.6 overall for Greyhound.
Oh, that's interesting. I think because my expectations were so low, I came out being like, it's not that bad. And like, not that bad. Yeah.
6.6 is fair enough, I reckon.
It didn't drag at all.